But do you think that this bullpen's getting tired?
Yes, absolutely. I think this bullpen's getting tired, and not only that, Juice, but I think this bullpen is exposed isn't the word I want to use. But the league is catching up to these guys and what they've changed with the Cubs. And now it's their turn to readjust because really outside, I don't really lump today's performance in because today was just a shit show as a whole for the team. But like as a whole, the only guys I can consistently say still look as good as they did like at the like very start of the season are Rowan Wick, David Robertson, and Keegan Thompson. And that's about it. Everybody else has had ups and downs. Givens has gotten beat up on a few occasions. Martin got a little beat up today. You know, I mean, he's been beat up all season, but he looked better.
Yeah, I think he sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to start calling people out. I think he sucks.
I had a little bit of hope after like his last two outings because he didn't look atrocious, but today was just bad. So yeah. I agree with you though, dude. I mean, and you said it. We literally watched this unfold last season, obviously for a very different reason, because I think last season was just literally they didn't have the arms to go deep into games. This season, I think it's just a product of a later spring training and everything that ended up happening. But still, they were so utilized in April and even in May that now in late May, you're starting to see it really catch up with a lot of these guys. And I think that's why, though, it's so important that they have guys like Brandon Hughes. And I'm sure we're going to see him at some point once he's healthy. I think he's on the IL now, but like a Ben Leeper, right? Like they're going to need these bullpen arms to come up from Iowa and you know, potentially even just come off the street if they get lucky and like do something, because a lot of these arms are either, like you said, either tired or they're getting just beat up because the league is now adjusting to what they changed once signing with the Cubs, right? The adjustments that they made to, you know, kind of better, whether it's spin rate or whether it's pitch selection or what have you. So, you know, I hear you though, man. Like you can only do so much, especially, I mean, you know, still love him. Still think he can be a good starting pitcher, but Justin Steele did not look great today. First inning looked okay. Second inning, meh. Third inning, ooh, wheels fell off. Like just right out the gate. And I don't know how much of that was like the rain and not being able to hold on to the ball. Like I'll give him some credit there because like I know at one point like Hunter Green was complaining about not being able to hold the ball, and he got lucky because he didn't have to pitch the bottom half of the inning when the rain was still coming. Like
right.
So I don't know how much of that was maybe some of the early troubles for Steele, like right out the gate there in that third inning. But I mean, yeah, when your start only goes 2 2/3, that does not set up well for your bullpen. Thank God they have an off day tomorrow, like you said. Like,
yeah, they
and then a late
game,
it. And it's a late game on Saturday, so at least you almost have like 2 full days to recover for this bullpen because holy shit, they got not only beat up today but just used very.
Yeah, they did, and you know, just to touch back on Justin, I truly still believe in his stuff. But if he continues to pitch like that, they're just going to flip him and Keegan. It's coming, and they're going to put him back in the bullpen. I'm going to just stand here on a pedestal right here and think that right now, because he was so damn good when he just had to pitch 3 innings, right? Yeah. And now I don't know if it's messed with his confidence, his routine, and I think he has great stuff, and he's shown it. And you said today, like he looked great in the first inning. After giving up a hit, you know, he was real solid after that. Mm-hmm. And he's had stretches where he's looked really, really good. But I just wonder if, like the old adage that, do they have to save something? Because if they're going to go deeper into the game, like maybe he isn't that guy who is able to save, you know, gas in the tank. Like he's just 3 innings, let it all go. And I don't know. That's where I'm at. I just hope that he gets it right because I do want to see him as a starter because he solves a huge need.
Yeah.
But if Keegan's going to continue to pitch like this, they're going to give him another chance to start. Mm-hmm. And I think Steele, if he continues this route, he's the one that's going to get sent to the pen because he's done it before.
True. I don't hate that idea, honestly. And I think a lot of it, though, will just come down to mentality, right? Because Keegan – we saw it with Keegan, right? He said he kind of owned that role, and you saw that confidence just ooze out of him when he would be on the mound in that role. you would essentially, and I think Justin's the kind of guy mentally that would turn around and do that and excel at it.
Sure.
I just think, it's an adjustment period, right? Like we saw it with him even last season when he had to go down and stretch out to become a starter later in the year. It was kind of the same process, right? Like it took a little bit and it took some time to kind of get in that groove, but I absolutely can see what you're throwing down because they're not going to put Hendricks in that role. Obviously, nope. Stroh's pitching better. I mean, he had the rough first inning. We talked
and
about
plus, he didn't sign Stroh at $70 million to be in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So throw those two out.
Yeah, Stroh's
Miley,
not going to the pen.
Same way.
Miley's not going to the pen. He's been excellent. And arguably, you could argue that Drew Smiley's been great too. So I agree with you, man. I think right now, just based on how the season's gone, if Keegan shows he can go 5, maybe 6. Then I think maybe at some point you do see that flip, or maybe they just both become that long arm out of the pen.
Yeah, when Edward Elgolay comes back.
Yeah,
that's the hope, or you bring up Killian,
right? Like there's options. There's options. At hand.
It's just so frustrating to see and I don't want to get ahead of myself because I want him to be a starter. But he was so good at coming out of the bullpen and pitching 3 innings to bridge to your closer. Was he not? Like that run when he came up last year, he was impressive in doing that job. And then I feel like they moved him over to be a starter and he's never been comfortable since then. And I don't know if that's true. Maybe he's fighting something, that maybe he's fighting his mechanics, or he's fighting, one of his pitches isn't getting the spin rate that he thinks it. I don't know. I don't have all the access to that. I'm just a guy watching a 20-5 ball game here. But with that said, you start to wonder, is it better? I always said this as a manager and as like somebody who works, with people and has a group of people who work for them. It's easier to find what they do well and let them just do it. You know what I mean? And then figure it out later because – 2, we've talked about it in depth. Next year, there's a lot of huge starting pitcher names that may hit the market. So maybe that's where you get your guy, right? Maybe you end up getting a 2 or a 3, but it'll be interesting. I don't know at this point with all the information that we have if he's comfortable doing it anymore.